how many did you have for alternate translations, Christine? Was it the same kind of small group?
Yes, it was a small group. I was just taking a look at the names. I'm not sure if we have a lot of repeats here or not, but
yeah, this is the same group that was with us this morning.
Yeah, it was a small group. I think it went really well. It went by kind of quickly, but I think it went really well. And there weren't a lot of questions, and I think people really liked the PowerPoint. So I think it was a good session.
Oh, great. All right. Well, I'm a little sore. I just got my COVID vaccination, so I'm excited, I think. Little sore. Feeling okay, though. So far, so good. All right, so let's go. We'll share the screen. And, right, are we good, Christine? I got the right screen up?
It looks excellent. Yes, you are, and we can hear you very well, so we're all good.
All right. Okay, so we are going to talk about keyword tables this afternoon. If you remember correctly, your keyword tables are those validation tables that are connected to your profiles as well as your documents. So most of them are non-editable, meaning that they're locked down by your product team, but there are some that you can edit. So we are going to be talking about those, a deeper dive into the keyword tables. I just posted this presentation in the webinar area. And I also posted 2 additional handouts. One is a PDF that is all of the different keyword tables by category, okay? Just because we know sometimes it's difficult to kind of figure out which ones go where. So now you have a little bit of a reference guide. You can come over here, you can see exactly the name of the ones that are used in special education versus ELL versus 504, for example, instead of them just being alphabetically. We also gave you we took this same document and made it an Excel. So if you wanted to open it up and just filter by a particular thing, you could as well. So just some reference material for you. Right. Get us set here. So what we're going to talk about are, what are keyword tables? We've been talking about that. Your keyword tables, those validation tables that are created in the configuration area of your of special programs. They support your profiles. They support your document templates. They control the ability to enter information into the field. So there's a lot of quality control there in the area of your documents. It gives them those validation lists. They're only selecting the options that should be selected for example, for state reporting. There are in the keyword tables, some keyword tables that are editable and some that are non-editable. And the ones that are editable, we call admin editable, meaning that you are signing in with your admin account. And with that admin account, you see only those keyword tables which you can edit, and you have the ability to do some sort of editing in them. So remember, when we were in our admin review, we talked about keywords. As I said, they're used in profiles and documents. they're also used in your profiles, especially your demographic profiles and even your state reporting profiles, to control the data that's moving back and forth between special programs and SIS, because both of those applications support different kinds of codes. And so where they have a different code set, they are there are translations that are built in to control the accuracy of the data moving back and forth. And if you were with me yesterday when we talked about integration, I talked about the fact that in Alabama, we don't have a lot of those keyword tables that might be open for translation or editing in some states are locked down in Alabama. And that is because we work with the State Department. It's a state deployed application, and they review the codes. They have governance over the codes, and they retire codes that they no longer want to use, and they add codes. And then we can do that at a model level, and everyone has the same codes. We do that both on the SIS side as well as the special program side, and so they're locked down. So in that case, it makes for one, it makes for really clean state reporting. Number two, it makes for really easy and clean integration, so that you all aren't having to constantly worry about differences in the codes between those two systems. So today we're going to talk about, do a deeper dive into, the functionality of keyword tables and kind of how they work in general. And then take a look at the keyword tables kind of module by module through the lens of some of the documents. So we talked about that. What's the difference between editable and not editable? In some cases where there are keywords which are editable, the first thing you would see is obviously an edit table button. If you're looking at the table and you see a column that is shaded, that means it's locked down, okay? It means that they don't care. The product team is okay if you change the description, or maybe if you change some of the values, but where it's locked down in gray, you're not allowed to edit it. So where are the keyword tables? Well, we've been working over in administration. So keyword, administration, configuration, keyword tables. Since I think our original system admin review workshops, and now actually, I don't think so. Well, maybe we'll get to see that. I thought I saw another button that wasn't there when we did our system admin review. But one of the things that I told you in the system admin review is that if you're logged in as an admin, you only see the keyword tables that you're allowed to edit. So if there's, for example, if I were to navigate over to the G's and look for the grade table, or look for the gender table as an admin, I wouldn't see it because I'm not allowed to edit it. So in this case, once again, you navigate to the keyword tables. What you see will be a directory. If you want to look at it by alphabetically, you just click on any letter. If you want to see them all, you can click on the all button and see a long list of them. So we're going to pop over here and get over to the application. So here I am under admin, logged in. I'm going over to configuration, going over to these keyword tables. Yes, and so this is what I wanted to illustrate had changed. Notice that it used to be, and you wouldn't know this, I only know this because it was like it looked different all of a sudden. I could always see the editable tables as an admin, but now they've added another option, which is the ability to see all tables, even if you can't edit them. So by default, these are your editable tables. Now they've also added this other button that says, well, we'll show you all of them, even though you can't do anything with them. So I don't think that was an Alabama feature. I think that that was just a base enhancement that was pushed out to everybody in the last release, was this all tables button. From here, as I said, you can pop over alphabetically, look at any particular area, or you can select all to see them all. In addition, there is an export to Excel, which is actually what we did for you. We exported it to Excel, and in one of your handouts, we gave you the Excel version, and we also pulled it over into a PDF, just so if you wanted to have any particular handouts or reference material, you would have that as well. To edit a keyword table or to even view a keyword table, remember, we always want to click on this magnifying glass. That's our zoom in. And it will take us to the keyword table. Now, a couple things to talk about this. That is, we know about the edit table. But in also kind of just adding on, based on what you learned from Christine about alternate translations, notice that now the one area that wasn't translated through Google were the keyword tables. And I don't know if she told you that, because it's probably not really very obvious. But if you were translating a IEP and you went through all the steps that Christine showed you to translate the document template and then to go in and use the translation, what you would have noticed is that on the goal page, wherever there was a keyword table for subject area, it wouldn't have translated this. So if you are using translations, you would also want to provide the translation for the keyword table itself as well, at least for the documents that you're planning on using. So just a little note to self, if you're thinking about doing that, jot a note down on your slide deck that says, don't forget about the keywords. If there's keywords on that document template, you're going to want to translate them as well. So let's see. I'm going to just pick Spanish real quick. I don't think there was any quick way to do that. There we go. Okay. And of course, here's the description. Now, a little bit different than the Google Translate. Notice that when I am doing a keyword translation, here it is. Okay, I have to open it up. I have the math here, and my machine translation, I can only see when I open it up. So just as she showed you before, I would add those different translations. So that's the translation part of the keyword table. In the editing part, a couple things about just how this works. Every keyword table you can export to Excel. And that's sometimes really helpful, especially if you're trying to do any kind of data mapping or anything like that, or you just want a list of your language codes, for example. But just know that you can export them all to Excel, and you can also just print them. That'll just create a print copy of your screen. Of course, the pencil means that you can edit it. And once again, wherever you see these shaded out fields, it just means that they're locked down. I can click on the edit button and I can edit the descriptions. And if I am editing something that is part of the model, and I can tell these are part of the models because it says custom, right? So it says custom, no, that means those are the model values. And if I change a description, either alternate language or regular, it doesn't mark it as a custom. It doesn't really care. And what that's telling me is that as It's doing product updates. As you get product updates in the future, it is the keyword table that they're concerned about. They won't overwrite your descriptions per se. So if it's a different description, if it matches, great. If it doesn't match, they'll leave it alone. But they will always, they won't allow you to change these keywords. And of course, the really important part of the keywords for all of you is and we talked about this before, but to really focus on the fact that it is those keywords that are supporting your migration from sets. And in the migration process, as we have tested it and run it again and again and again, as I said, your migrations have been running, I don't want to say continuously or constantly, but continuously intermittently for the past year, where they're going out and they're updating data in and they're looking at those scripts. And the way they bring data in is by the translations of the keywords, okay? So that's one of the reasons why it is so locked down for Alabama, is not just because of state reporting, but because all of these keywords are translating to a keyword over in sets in the migration scripts. So as I said, you can edit any one of these, and then wherever you see these bank of icons, those are your icons that are your insert icons. They're your editing icons. You can insert, and wherever you see an insert, and whether it's in a keyword table or even in a form, when you click insert, it will insert it above the line you selected, okay? And the order that you're looking at these keyword tables is the order that they're appearing in the dropdown. And because a lot of times, and maybe this might not be a good example, or maybe it is, this is the subject area in your IEP, users want to control the sort order of these, okay? And so in that particular case, these are hard coded in. You can't change the sort order, but here where you have control of them, you can change the sort order and move them up, move them down. Oh, it is. Look, it is. It's letting me go all the way up. I wasn't sure it was going to, but I can resort this entire list based on, I just can't insert up here in the middle. I literally have to add it at the bottom and push it all the way up where I might want it in the list, okay? So that's good to know. Wasn't sure that Alabama would let us do that, but it looks like they will. So I actually can move it up anywhere within this, but I have to move it up one value at a time. Of course, we know that the X deletes the entire row. So I can go back and edit the row, I can delete the row, and I can move them up and down. And drag and drop. Ooh, look at this. Is it gonna let me do that? All right. This is fairly new functionality as well. So up and down, drag and drop. So I can just drop them in if I want to change the order. Cool beans. Okay. So drag and drop. Yep, enable drag and drop. Christine got it in here. So insert the keyword, edit the keyword, delete, move up, move down, and drag and drop it to move it up and down. All right. Now, so those are the basic elements of keyword tables. And as we do our kind of we're going to do a little bit of a walkthrough through the lens of a document. And so you're going to see some different combinations of keywords. This is the example here is obviously the most standard. A keyword, a column that says whether or not it's a custom, the description, and then an alternate language description for that keyword table. Now, let's bring up our there we go. Let me make this a little bigger. Okay. So in the area of special education, most of your, I would say the majority of the keyword tables in special education are probably fairly locked down. And of course, that makes sense because we are migrating data in from sets, so we need to make sure that we've got correct crosswalks. It also makes sense because of, you know, a lot of state reporting codes, right? A lot of Alabama state codes. So what we're going to take a look at, and there is, let's see, how many we got here? About 6 of them. We're going to take a look at the ones within the context of the documents that you can change. And so the first one I'm going to just kind of briefly look at are the ones that are in your IEP. And that is the one we just looked at, and that's called the area. And that is the annual goal area that has the different subjects. And then service locations, service types, and transitions, okay? At the other kind of a standard one that runs through all documents, a lot of documents, is something that is called parent response. So I want to take a look at that because I think that's going to be extremely important for you to kind of think about what values you might want in there. All right, so I'm going to move this out of the way. Sorry, because if I can't look at it, I won't remember what all these are. So we're going to go to, we're going to come out of the back end. We're going to move into the light here with the kiddos. And I'm going to go pick on one of my students, Mr. Joseph. And I happen to have an IEP document in draft that which will allow us to take a look at some of these areas. So in the area of the IEP, I've got in the annual goal, I have an annual goal area. So we're going to start there first. Because that's first in the list. And that is the goal area that is the drop down, where as annual goals are added, each annual goal is linked to a specific subject area. So as your users come back from their regional training and your trainers are beginning to use the application, or your coordinators, and they call you up and say, you know, I'm working on this IEP and it doesn't have all the areas in it that that I need. Can you add one for, you know, yada, yada, yada. You'll know, yes, I can. One of the things to be aware of is wherever in a validation box, there is an other option, always be sure to tell them, oh, well, you can use the other option because this is free text. Where it's important, I think, to think about adding a keyword table is if it's consistently something that you use all the time, it's part of your business rules, and you want to be able to include it in a report, right? Because then you can search for area equals and pull those codes out. So that is the one that we were just looking at. You can see all my crazy things I added in here. There is another one. Wherever you see other, it always makes the free text field a required field. All right, before I go, the next one I'm going to go to is transition. And in the transition section, you have assessments, okay? And for the assessments, your transition assessments happens to be an editable keyword table. Once again, it has the standard assessments. It also supports an other where you can just type in let's try this again. Oh, here's all the assessments that are parts. So you can see adult, American College, Brigance, Independent Views, Kaufman, like so. All of the standard ones you would expect to see all the way down. I know I've had people want to add some different things here. So that's your transition assessment. Your long-term goal is not editable, according to my cheat sheet over here. I can add assessments if I need to here on the IEP, but the long-term goal is not anything that I can edit. I'm locked into those values. If other is selected, specify here. Okay. So on your transition, you can add transition assessments. The other area on your IEP where you've got some keyword tables is in the services area. And in the services area, you have some latitude to have different location of services. And those are called service locations. So right now there's general ed resource, school bus, counselors, homeroom. But if you needed to add some additional drop downs to those services, you could. And then service types right here. I find this interesting because there's only one value in there. Oh, here are the rest of them. Okay, this is a good example of something we want to look at. Okay, in the services type, and this is an example of a filtered keyword table. Perfect example when we get to it. The service type keyword table supports special education and related services. Okay, so it's one entire keyword table of all of those options with two columns that identify whether or not it's used for special ed or related services. So let's look at that. Administration, configuration, keyword table. The name of it is service types. Let's see. I would have thought that one was. Hold on. So that's service types. Nope, that's just the service types for related services. And that is because the special education services is limited to speech, which is the one is there. It's locked in. They don't let you change it. So it's only this service type that as an admin, you could add additional services. Remember, if you're adding services, the key word is a unique identifier. And of course, type in your description of what you would see. Okay. So we'll go back to Mr. Joseph. Service type for special ed, lockdown. Related services, service type, you have some latitude to edit it. Okay. There is something called a document delivery section, and it's a standard section that you may very well see across many of your documents. And the document delivery section is the standard kind of appendage to a document that says how it was given to the parents. And it's really gotten a lot of use, obviously, since COVID. Not so much maybe before, but a lot of the state models now are adding it to the end. And one of those drop downs that is here is this mode of delivery. So given to the parent of the meeting, mail, parent office visit, at home visit, emailed, sent via student. I've had some districts that want to add, via Zoom, via some sort of a virtual meeting, that kind of thing. And so this parent responses for document delivery, I don't believe that's the one that you can edit, because you shouldn't be able to edit these three. But this one right here, mode of delivery, let's take a look at that. And that permeates itself through lots of documents. Oh. Now, I guess you can change these. It surprises me that they would allow you to change these. I would think there would be one for mode of delivery. And I don't see where that one is yet. Maybe it's buried down a little bit more. So that's the parent response. I can't think of a reason you'd want to change that parent response, but that's what that one is used for. Okay. Eligibility assessments. Let's take a look at that one really quick in special ed. Your eligibility assessments is linked to the notice and eligibility decision. It's in the assessment area. And there is your area of assessment. So these are all the assessment areas that are out there, just FYI. All of them have already been entered. But that's what that one is talking about. And I don't see an other option, which makes me think that these probably are very structured and you really probably would not be changing many of those. And there's your assessment information. So you'll see where it says eligibility assessments. That's where you see the drop downs for those. And then students hearing and screening results. There is a drop down there. I am not seeing that one. That one is on the students in hearing screening results. Hearing screening results. That one does not look like there's anything you'd really be editing on that one. So probably nothing that you'd ever change there. That would always be set by the model. All right. In the area of, let's take a look at some of the 504 ones. So we'll come down to the 504. Under the section 504 eligibility. Yep, there's that document behavior kicking in. Okay. This one is one of those that gets everybody every time. And so this one, I want you to put on a to-do. If you're going to use 504s, this is one of those keyword tables that you want to make an action item to make sure that you have configured. And Christina, I'd like you to make a note as well on our stuff to check this for 504 disabilities. In the 504 eligibility format, I'm going to back up a little bit because so you can see what I actually did. Okay. This is the 504 eligibility format, lots of required fields, and down here on the bottom is where the evaluation information is entered. You know, do you have a physical and mental impairment? Are there any corrective measures? And there's a series of checkboxes. And one of the features of special programs is that we have these conditional checkboxes. And when you click a checkbox, it opens up other fields. And where, oh, there we go. See, I couldn't even find it again. There's a field, the very first question that says, does the student have a physical or mental impairment? And until you say yes, you don't see this little drop down that's hidden over here. And if you click on it, it says test. That is your 504 disability, and it has no values in it. So for 504, in order to, and notice that it's not required. It's not required. You can complete the rest of the form without designating a 504 disability. But if you track 504 disabilities, or you'd like to track 504 disabilities, you need to enter those disabilities in that keyword table. And that keyword table is 504 disabilities, right there, under the letter F. And, you know, whether visual impairment, hearing impairment, or whatever it might be, you will need to fill those out. If you are starting to use 504 and your folks, social workers, liaisons are starting to do documents, you may very well get some questions from them if they start to do the documents and say, why does it say test? Okay. It's not required, but if you want to designate a 504 disability, you're going to want to complete that. Okay. That one's the critical one there. Oops, I just got locked up in here, guys. There we go. Let's see if we can get out of here. Cancel. Perfect. Okay. Just checking to see if I see any other 504s that I want to, oh. Meeting, the meeting purpose for 504s. Initial redetermination for eligibility. Those are the options that are in there. Yes, you actually could add another option if you'd like. I don't really have any good examples. Sometimes I find that different districts have a few different nuances for their Section 504 policy. So you'll see that meeting purpose, as well as in the eligibility, as well as in the meeting invitation notice itself, which is this one right here. I think sometimes I've seen them add like an other option where they're just doing some sort of a review. So instead of it being an initial and a redetermination, sometimes they're just doing status check-ins, review check-ins, that kind of thing. So there's the capability to make some changes there. Right. So 504 disabilities and the 504 meeting purpose. Okay. The only three things I can think of in 504 that aren't really locked down that you would need to and might want to change. Okay, gifted. I'm going to pop over to gifted really quick, kind of come down here. In the gifted and talented, I gave you the keyword tables, but I also talked to your product manager, which is Gail Cummins, about gifted and talented. And she said that all of the tests, the gifted aptitude tests, the instruments and the subscales are all pre-configured and by the state as well as her. So even though I've listed them on here, there really is no reason that you would ever change them. And I probably, she said, you know, if they add different instruments in the future, you know, they'll be adding them to the model. I'll take you to where these are. They're fairly complicated in terms of what they look like, but I do want to show you where they're at. And they're all over here in this gifted area. And they are used on the gifted plan. Actually, they're used on the gifted eligibility form. So they're used on the screening determination. And you have all of these different gifted aptitude tests. And all of these have these different filters in it for subscales and indicators. So those are located in your keyword tables. Those are your aptitude tests, the different instruments that are used, and then the subscales, okay? So the aptitude tests, the instruments, and the subscales. And yes, they're admin editable for description, so forth and so on, but the product team keeps a pretty close eye on maintaining those. You're probably wondering about English Learner. English Learner doesn't have a lot of keyword tables that can be changed, okay? Just because of just the nature of its documentation and its formatting. There is, the English Learner is supported by a keyword table for languages. So that is just, there's a country table and a language table. That's fairly locked down because it's, bringing information back and forth between SIS. If we were to look at any of your EL documents, we have, for example, the language survey that's supported by the language dropdown. And this is probably the major document that is over in the EL documents. It's the referral and placement form. And this is the only keyword table that you're allowed to access. As I said, the country table is coming over, I think in some cases from SIS too, but this is the table that is admin editable. That is the only one. And the rest of these don't have anything in them that is supported by a keyword table that and there is, some EL committee. This is hard coded in. This is hard coded in, as you would imagine. So that's the only EL table there is. Okay, so we talked about special ed and gifted is pretty much locked down. I want to talk a little bit about RTI. Response to intervention is, I think, a relatively new module for all of Alabama. And in many cases, nationally, we now have a move for more people to document more stringent requirements on MTSS and RTI. When you start to think about RTI, my experience has been that most districts already have some sort of a structure that they're using on paper. Maybe they're using Word documents or whatnot, but they've got a process in place. And so I'm going to just kind of give you an example because I want you to see this. But as part of their process, whether it's a individual instruction plan or some sort of a tier 3 instructional plan, they have a mechanism that they're already kind of using on paper. It is within the instructional arena and the intervention area that there are probably the most keyword tables that allow you to specialize your format or your framework for what your documents look like, okay? And really understanding what you might want to put in some of this stuff, is really as a result of going to training and understanding how these work. But I am going to kind of give you a little bit of an overview here because of all the areas that has keywords. I want you to kind of take away from this conversation that, there's a lot of openness in the RTI module to think about how you might want to set some of this up. The form that has the most keyword monitoring are your instructional plans, because they provide strategies for intervention. And usually where you have strategies for intervention, it's pretty structured in what those strategies might be. So we're going to take a look at this just to give you some idea. Within RTI, as students are placed, there are particular placements, that they're placed. Are they placed in elementary? Is it a middle school placement? Is it a high school placement? And then depending on what is selected here, you will have a filtered area that gives you the different areas of the diagnostic placement that was used, okay? So within the keyword tables, there's a diagnostic, a placement keyword that shows you all of the different placements and the filters that are by elementary, middle school, or high school. There's a standard set, and then there's also always one that's called other that you can type whatever in. If you are selecting a diagnostic assessment type, once you select one of these, it also filters down even further. And all of that is pre-configured for you, okay? So it's there. You do have latitude to change it, but it's not quite as simple as just maybe 3 values, right? So you have to think about, oh, is it a middle school assessment? Is it already there? If I change it to middle school, what would I see? And it completely changes all of the different assessments, okay? So that's the first area, that diagnostic placement screening, all filters by the different kind of placement levels, and that is contained in the keyword tables. Under the instructional focus, you have an area that allows you to pick from an entire group of areas of concern. And it also allows you to, as you pick an area of concern, it filters the interventions that are appropriate to that area of concern. And then provides a set of strategies. So it's all pre-configured and it's all baseline. But those keyword tables that support RTI are open for configuration. And to give you a visual of what that looks like, that happens to be area of concern. Let's see if I can get to them. So this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about and why, most folks are not, they're not going to just jump right out here and do a bunch of editing to keyword tables. Even though you can edit the table, you can see that where I have an option, this is turning it on as a strategy for either math or reading or writing, for example. So that happens to be the different curriculums. Let's see if we can walk through some of these so you can see them. And I'm looking at this. Here we go, strategies. Okay, and this happens to be when we'll go to that section too, but you can see that there are different kinds of strategies that can be used depending on whether it's an academic or a behavior process. So if you are, looking at these keyword tables and wondering about some of these RTI ones, the best way, once you have a user and your users go through training, is just to sit down and have them go through the entire strand of RTI documents to determine, are the drop downs the way that you want them, right? Here, you've got a drop down. Here's those strategies we're just talking about, depending on what they are. Couple of simpler keywords back here. How often are you going to monitor? This one is kind of a 1 day, every 2 days, every 3 days, 1 time a week, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pretty good selection of choices there, but that one is optional. Also, this is your frequency in minutes. That's a keyword table. So those are the RTI ones. And I think the only other one that there might be a few in the tier 3 monitoring. Let's take a look at that one. Yeah, and this is where when you get into tier 3, you get, here's all the interventions. We looked at that one. So depending on the kind of intervention, the location, the frequency, language of service, and the area of concern. So it's just those 4 or 5. You've got areas of concern, intervention, strategies, actions, and interventions. So those are really kind of the 4, and of course the frequency of intervention. They're all pre-configured, but there is latitude and the ability to make some modifications within those as it might, apply to what it is that you might want to do within your district. All right, so any questions? Really what we wanted to do in this session is just to walk you through looking at those keyword tables again, let you see them through the lens of what it would look like for a user, and then give you a little bit of some handouts and some things that might help you identify which ones you could actually edit in each of those documents. Any questions? If you guys want to do any hands-on, I encourage you to, go down there and back there and do some exploring. If you've been with me all day long, any questions about anything? Anything else you want me to review? I've got some time. If you just raise your hand, I can let you even talk to me. It's just a lot of it. Yes, it is a lot of information. We know. And we're hoping that, by giving you the slide decks and the handouts, that you've just got it. If you ever need to go back and refer to it, you know, you go, oh yeah, I remember when somebody told me that, and let me go back and look at it. It is a lot of information. Here's the good news, is that most of the information that we're giving you is supplemental, meaning that it's just, you know, it's just to enhance what you know. With the exception of what we need to ask you to do to get ready in security, there's really nothing you have to do. Okay. You know, so take it in, nothing you have to do, except like when somebody asks you a question down the road, you're going to be really smart when you say, oh, I know that. I think I know that. So. Okay, so Teresa, and I want to ask you this, not because I saw this and I didn't see this note before. It says, I appreciate the pieces that I was able to walk with you, because that there are a lot of pieces I couldn't go through because it's not in your database. And that's not true. Everybody's database is built and it should look exactly like mine. So if you can't see this, we need to figure out why. Can you type what the name of your district is, and let's make sure what, and I can tell you what the problem is. Monter. Okay, okay. Stop sharing for just a second. And Teresa, oh, Monroe. I got Monroe. I'm gonna send you a little chat, Teresa. Are you signed up with the admin accounts? Yes. Okay. Okay. So Teresa, does your screen look like mine? And my guess is you're going to tell me now. And if you, do you want me to, do you mind if I let you talk to me? So Teresa, I just took you off mute if you want to chat with me.
Okay, I'm at where it says special programs, and across the top I have search, curriculum, assessment, communication, reporting, administration.
Perfect. Okay, good. Okay.
But then I don't have where it says home page. How do I get there?
It doesn't say my homepage here.
No, ma'am.
What browser are you using?
Google, I believe.
Okay, and does it say a little a right here?
Let's see. Yes, I got that.
And if you click on administration and if you go to configuration, what happens?
Okay. Configuration. Okay, I have that screen.
Okay. So this is where you would see keyword tables,
Okay.
right here.
Uh-huh.
Here's all the keyword tables.
Uh-huh.
Here, this, if you were in the document template, these are all your document templates.
Okay.
Here's security.
Mhm.
I don't want to go look at your students because that's your data, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we don't want to show anybody that. But yeah, so this is what, you know, we were looking at some of these keyword tables for those. So there's nothing that you have to do.
Okay.
Have you attended a security session with me yet?
I'm not sure if I have. I did yesterday and today, and I did one other, an overview, I think, on another day. It was an overview, something that I did.
Yep. Do you remember yesterday when I said that the first thing that, if there was only one thing that you all did, this had to be the thing. You have to go into your security groups, and I gave you guys a handout that had all of the Alabama security group, and you had to type in your PowerSchool SIS user access roles.
Gotcha. So, and that's where I think I need to get with Jeremy, because I'm not sure, well, Jeremy is our IT person. And
Okay.
I'm not sure he's planning to put as those.
And you don't, and that's okay, but what you can do your part without him, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. Okay. Let me get back to that screen.
Yeah.
Let me.
And so for anybody who was with me yesterday, this is, we have a
Uh-huh.
few minutes to make sure everybody kind of.
Okay. I
Okay.
need to. Get me back to where we were.
Okay, I will in just a second. I'm trying to
Okay.
open a document. Okay. So let me get this out of the way really quick. Okay. Okay, so remember, you're logged in as your admin, and you're going to come over to, you're logged in.
Uh-huh.
If you don't see that My Home stuff here, don't worry about it. What I care about is that you go to Administration Security.
Security. Uh-huh.
Okay, and starting with, there's a group. So kind of from the bottom down, Special Programs Admin Group. If you open that up, there are two security groups there.
Okay.
Right? See that?
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to go to the one that says Security Administrators System-wide.
Okay.
And open it up. And then I'm going to click Edit.
Okay. I got you. Okay.
Okay. Now, this is the handout that's attached to the security. Did you remember seeing this yesterday?
Okay. Let me get my notes from yesterday. Hold on. Let me get
That's okay.
my sheet.
Everybody who's still with me, if you weren't with me on security, make sure you grab this, you know, make sure you sign up if you're the security person, but this is a really important handout.
Okay, I've got, it says default security groups and SIS roles.
Right, so the one that we just picked was called Security Administrator System-wide.
Okay. I'm
So you
looking
have
for
it
my,
over there.
I'm looking for my sheet that looks like yours, District
Oh, yeah.
Technology.
That's okay.
Okay, My sheet doesn't look like your sheet for some reason.
Does it say Alabama default security?
No, let me look again.
You don't have this one.
Yes, okay. But I don't have that particular page. Because I printed this. Let me find that. It'll be sure. Michael 4, speed district. I think this one may have, okay, I got it. I'm there now.
Okay, great.
I got it.
Okay, so
It's 17. I got it.
yep. So you see right here in red, it says SPED System Administrator.
Yes.
You can just make it, you have to type that word in exactly the way it is.
Okay.
And I just copy it. I just copy it and then go back here and where it says PowerSchool Sys User Access Role,
Uh-huh.
paste that in.
Got it.
So you have to map them all.
Gotcha. That, I guess I missed that yesterday. I didn't understand it. I guess I missed finding it. I missed a step getting here.
That's okay. That's okay. It is a lot of information, and that's why if you need some help, doing this, just send me an email, and Christine can get on the phone and walk you through it, and she can help you.
Okay.
Okay. And this goes for everybody, you guys. Right now, we've got really small groups. All of this information is great. There's a lot of it, but this is the one thing you have to do.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. And that is to go through each one of these groups.
Uh-huh.
Here we go. Like we have classroom teacher. Go back over to your handout. I would just go in order. The classroom teacher is the very last one, right?
Uh-huh.
So right here, classroom teacher.
Uh-huh.
You're going to open that record up and in the PowerSchool Sys role, you're
Uh-huh.
in teacher.
Okay. I think I can do it now. I missed
Perfect.
the step on how to get there. And that's why I
Right.
thought everything wasn't there.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Because, and I'm going to repeat this again, if you don't get your roles mapped,
Uh-huh.
everything they do on the PowerSchool Sys side isn't going to work.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So everybody who's been with me, that's the one big to do.
Got it.
The rest of it, just listen and learn and think, okay, this will all come together.
Okay.
But get that part done for us.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And there's another, do you have another one of these trainings tomorrow? Because
We do.
somebody from my staff said that they were coming, was going to do one on Thursday. So if I can get this in before they have the training on Thursday, it would help them, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
We're trying really hard just to get all this information out now because once we get into April and May and then summer hits, then it will be too late to get the information out,
Okay.
So get it done now. And if you guys, if you have any questions at all, put it out in the QA log. I've given everybody a link. If you can't find the QA log, send me an email. I'll get it in the QA log. Get it in the QA log. We're going to get your questions answered. So don't be reticent at all to ask us. That's what we're here for. Right, Christine?
Absolutely. And I wanted to let you know, I went ahead, since that last part you just went over was so important, I kept that recording going because I think that part is so important. So I just wanted to let you know I didn't stop it right after the session, since I knew you were going to be going over that important, to do part. I went ahead and kept that going.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
know
it
if I
does.
want to cut that off when we post it or not, but I figure if people don't want to hear it, they can always fast forward over it too, but that's some good
Sure.
information.
Okay. Yeah, so, yeah, so for everybody here, you know, we gave you lots and lots and lots and lots of information, but this is the one that's the most important. And so the rest of it, you can check the box that you heard it, but if you have any questions about working on security, reach out to us. We'll help you.
Okay, I most definitely will. I thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. Any other questions? You guys want to stay on for a few minutes, or are you ready to hop off for the day? Miss Teresa, you good?
I think I'm good. I'm gonna go through now and start clicking what I need to click and put those in. And if I see where I have some questions, I have your email and I will